Today we're going to be looking to every argument that raw meat is more ideal than cooked meat in terms of health and nutrition. So the first argument is nutrient and mineral comparisons. So there are such things as B vitamins and vitamin C, which are considered water-soluble vitamins, which means that they're bound to the moisture, the sort of juiciness of a piece of meat. And they're very heat-sensitive vitamins, which means that when they're cooked, heat can destroy them. And analysis of comparing raw meat to cooked meat show this, that over 50% of the nutrients in cooked meat of the water-soluble vitamins can get easily destroyed. And that was only in medium rare steak. So imagine how much more it can get destroyed in more overcooked steaks like medium well or well done. The second argument is the creation of possible carcinogens. This includes such as HCAs, PHAs, NOCs, etc. These are carcinogenic compounds that can be produced when meat is cooked because they occur whenever creatine, amino acids, and sugars react at high temperatures. Now, it's important to note that these compounds are only thought to be carcinogenic, right? Because carcinogenic is a cause and effect statement, which can't very definitively be proven, but they have very strong links and known mechanisms that could be carcinogenic to the body. The third one is that raw meat has less AGEs. If you don't know what AGEs are, it stands for advanced glycation end products, and it happens when proteins or fats react with sugars at high heat. So, for example, if you ever look at the browning on scrambled eggs, or the browning that occurs on toast, or the golden browning that happens on a nice seared steak, these are all examples of AGEs, right? So AGEs are something that can actually happen endogenously because they're glycation end products. Glycation is basically sugar damage or damage caused by glucose in the cells. But you can endogenously create AGEs as well in food and then consume them. And we know this because trials showed that people eating the same food but cooked in different ways, which would change the amount of AGEs produced in the food endogenously in their diet, actually resulted in less serum AGE levels in their blood when they had less AGEs. So obviously this compared slow cooking to high heat fast cooking, but logically no cooking at all would give an even less amount of AGEs, which would be even more ideal, and less glycation. The fourth argument is the evolutionary argument, which is that humans eat raw meat in nature, right? So this is based on the arguments similar to the first argument in the last video, which is that what's ideal for an animal is what it eats in nature and what it's evolutionary adapted to eat, because natural selection tells us that genes change based on the environment around them, and therefore if we're more adapted to eat what we've mostly been eating. So it's more essentially appropriate to eat raw meat, because obviously all animals in nature eat raw meat. You're not going to see a lion cooking up his burgers before it eats them, or any other animal like that, like dogs and cats that are also hypercarnivorous eat raw meat in nature. And humans are most likely just the same. Now, there is some evidence, some anthropological evidence that suggests that we could have started cooking meat around 700,000 years ago, that we might have been using fire, but it's not really definitive proof. It can't really prove if we did cook the meat, and it's only in some specific places around the world, so you can't prove if how quickly it spread, this culture of cooking meat, and if really everyone was doing it, because in order for big evolutionary changes to be happening, most of the speciation has to be doing that thing, or has to be eating cooked meat in order for us to evolve accordingly. And even we know even before that we definitely would not be cooking our meat, which would make it even more ancestrally appropriate to eat raw meat. It also just makes more logical sense. When you're hunting and you're hungry and you finally kill an animal, are you gonna try to make a fire and wait around and then eat it, or you could just eat it on the spot because it's already ready to eat? You would just want to eat it immediately, as quickly as you could. And you probably wouldn't even know what fire was or ever seen it or how to make it. So how does that make sense for us to ancestrally be cooking our meat? It doesn't. And the fifth and final argument is also similar to another argument in the last video. It's probably the least scientific, but it's somewhat inferential, the natural intuition argument. This basically goes off the assumption that every animal in nature knows what it wants to eat and knows what it's best for it to eat based on their natural intuition, and they don't need people to tell them. For example, cows and goats graze on grass. They don't need people to tell them to bend down and eat grass. They just naturally, intuitively know to do that. And if you look at just based on your intuition between cooked meat and raw meat, I personally think that like this picture right here looks way more appealing and way better. Like I can tell my intuition just wants me to eat this more. And also, if you've ever tried raw meat before compared to cooked meat, most people will tell you that the raw meat is way juicier and a lot tastier. and a lot more tender as well. So that covers it up for this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. See you next time.